Audience this evening, the enrollment numbers as we open the doors for the 14-15 school year. When we closed in June of 2014, we closed with, from pre-K through 12th grade, 7,088 students. As of today, we have an increase of 1,099 students from K through 12. That is an increase of, we have 8,187 students as of today. That's an increase K through 12 of 1,099 students. And I wanted to share this information with you because having said that, it has created a challenge for the district regarding class size. We're looking at the number of students that we have per class. We're looking at reducing those classes by employing additional staff in the district, specifically in our bilingual area where we're looking to employ additional staff there for the district. And that's it.
Get your clerk to receive the agenda.
Agenda items on page. Ms. Johnson, classrooms that we're looking into, this will be in place about what kind of timeline do we have?
We're looking at the cabinet members with appointments set up by Mr. Antoine. We're looking at 3 sites. One of the sites is one that we're currently leasing where we know we have 10 additional classrooms available to the district, and that would be 100 Main Street. But we're looking at additional sites as well. The county executive, Mangano, has extended a staff member to the district to work with us as well to locate space for the additional students in the district.
This should take about 2 weeks, 10 days, or not?
Not that long. We're looking, once we establish where we'll be moving the additional students, meeting with and sharing with the board the results of the search of the additional space. And once we do that, we do have time in September where we're looking to, if we have to, move students to this space.
I have a question, Mr. President. The resources to pay for leasing additional space, do we have that in the budget? Did we provide for that when we were doing the budget last year?
That would be, Trustee Braisley, a consideration depending upon what comes out of the conversations. If it's such a point where we don't have it financially, then the only option available to us will be 100 Main Street.
Okay, and have we had any conversations with the village with regards to the number of people and as far as code enforcement is concerned? Have we any idea how many families registered live in single-family houses? So, I mean, and what I mean by that is how many families do you have registered on the books that live in a single-family house? How many families come from a 1-bedroom apartment? How many families come from 2-bedroom apartments? Have we looked at any of those numbers?
No, the mayor of Hempstead, Mayor Wayne Hall, as well as the deputy mayor, have extended to the district that if we provide them with the list, that they have additional code enforcers and that they would be working with the district to go to the homes to see. So they want the district to provide them with the list. Once they get the list from us, then they will go out to enforce.
If we had extra people on this summer for registration, did you guys start working on that list so that we could have something to work with?
Yes, they have.
Okay, so what kind of time are we looking at before the mayor can have that list?
Before the week is out.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Mrs. Johnson, in lieu of these apartment buildings that's going up now, and I see they have playgrounds on the ground, so that means there's going to be children there. And we have to anticipate additional students for the next year or either the middle of this year that's going to be coming into our district. We need to look at that also.
That is absolutely correct, and Mr. Antoine will be spearheading the committee to look at the rebuilding of Rhodes Elementary School, and I will be reaching out to the state to see if the district can receive additional assistance as far as the reimbursement for new buildings.
Now, with Mr. Antoine spearheading this project, who are we looking for the committee? Are we receiving resumes for that? Have we made announcements to the community so people that are interested could be a part of that? What is the makeup of that committee going to look like?
It will reflect every stakeholder in the community. This was a discussion that we had at cabinet meeting on Friday, so we're in the planning stage, and it will be posted, so those who are interested will submit their paperwork into the district so that the board as well as cabinet will have an opportunity to review the paperwork and then establish the committee.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First of all, good evening, Superintendent Johnson. I didn't get to speak to you earlier. Is this thing working? Okay. My question is, in regard to the space, and Trustee Brazeley brought to our attention funding for the space. If in fact we don't have or we're not able to come up with necessary funding, is there any other plans that are put in place to accommodate the number of students that we're going to have, such as the possibilities of schedule changes or things of anything of that nature?
Besides the classroom space available to us at 100 Main Street, then we would have to look at either half-day or doubling up in that classroom.
So that would mean that we would have to work with our teachers union very closely. Have any of those types of conversations began at this point?
Not yet, because this would be the first full week of the students being in school, because as we all know, the first 3 days is not a true picture of the enrollment which the district will have to work with until the end of the school year. So therefore, this being the first full week of the student population being in, this will give us a better handle of exactly how many students we'll have to work with.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody needs cards to ask questions? See security? Proceed with the agenda, Mr. Clerk.
Questions, concerns, page 2, trustees?
Village of Hempstead Department of Parks and Recreation. I thought we already did that.
They called into the board office, they had requested Saturdays on their original request, and that was left off the last agenda.
Oh, okay.
Earliest date is October 25th, 2014, which is a Saturday. The reason why we must wait so long is because New York Education Law 2004-1 requires the district to publish notice of the election at 45 days before the election. The first publication will be on September 10th, 2014, making 45 days October 25th. We're not doing the election on a Saturday. The October 28th is a Tuesday. Trustee Brady? In regards to the election, October 28th?
That's fine.
Yes,
Any other concerns, page 2?
this is the thing I want the.
Well, I have a concern.
I want the crowd, even though this is not the question and answer, but if they have any questions about the election now, because that's what we do. Does anybody in the audience have a question about the election? You have 2 minutes to speak. Mr. Watson?
Anybody done with the card?
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. My concern, I guess, would be to the legal representation of this village. And that is, I don't know much about the law other than what I've watched on Law and Order on TV. And it seems to me that the Commissioner of Education overstepped his bounds with this decision. And no disrespect to anybody else, I don't understand how he could separate part of the poison from the tree if the whole tree is poison. I don't understand separating part of the election and not the total election. So that is my concern to the, I guess, the legal representation that the village has, other than the fact that I've been disenfranchised as a voter, regardless of who I voted for. I've been disenfranchised as a voter, and I would hate for my mother and father, who had dogs sicked on them in Virginia in 1963 just for trying to register to vote. So I feel very disenfranchised at this time as a voter. And so that's my question. Does the Commission of Education have the right to do that and to not throw out the entire election? That's my concern.
And one of the attorneys may be able to answer that question.
The Commissioner of Education has the statutory authority to review election results of a school district. The decision of the Commissioner was based upon the challenge to one portion of the election, which was the contest between Ms. Torre and Ms. Cross. That is what the Commissioner ruled about. That's what the limited review was about. And the new election, which the board will set before tonight, will re-enfranchise you to vote for one of the candidates for that position. The Commissioner was within his statutory authority to do what he did, and the reason why it was limited was because of how the challenge was focused and not a review of the full election.
So what if I didn't vote for Ms. Cross or Ms. Torrey?
And the election, the special election, is not only for Ms. Torre and Ms. Cross. Any person can now run.
But the whole tree was still poison.
I understand your argument. The Commissioner did not decide to throw out the whole election.
Thank you.
I have a question.
One second. I just want to see, this is the time, if you have any questions, after Trustee Brady says what she wants the next person to say what they have to say. Or you want to let Joyce speak first? Joyce in the room?
Good evening. I have no issue with the Commissioner's ruling. The question that I have relates to the statement that was made that the special election is going to be held on the 28th. The 28th is just 1 week before the general election, when you have the governor and a whole lot of other people running. Why can't this election be held on November the 4th, where there are going to be multiple sites that will be available? It will not cost the trustees, or I'm sorry, the school district any additional funds, and you can in fact maximize the number of people who come out. If they're going to come out to vote for governor, lieutenant governor, for all other elected officials within our community, I would think, and I would highly recommend that you consider having this special election on November the 4th. to maximize the number of people from our village that could come out to vote.
Attorney, answer that question for me.
The reason why the district can't hold the election on election day is the way Nassau County Board of Elections handles its books of registered voters. It's by election district, and the entire school district isn't within the election districts of the Nassau County Board of Elections. I've had conversations with them, and there are some outlying areas of the district that is not within the village of Hempstead voting area. So in essence, if the district wanted to have its election on election day, the voters would have to go to two different voting places. It's just the way Nassau County Board of Elections has its books set up through election districts, not as school districts.
But isn't, I mean, you're talking about two different sites that they would have to go to? I don't particularly understand why that would be so problematic. Why can't, if you can't have it, for the reasons that you talked about, that there are some EDs that are outside of the boundaries of the village, then why can't the school district or you representing the school district have a conversation with the Board of Elections and figure out a way to be able to have those elections on the 4th of November that will maximize the number, because again, our issue is to be able to get as many different people from the village to show up for the election.
The answer to that is because part of each election districts are part in the Hempstead School District and part in, I believe, Uniondale School District.
How many EDs, do you have a sense of how many EDs there are that fall within what you're talking about? That are within, outside the boundaries of it?
According to the Nassau County Board of Elections today, there are about 5 or 6
EDs.
EDs. So those people who live in EDs and vote, the ballot would have both the school district election and the general election. And there, in those EDs, the people would see the school district ballots and candidates, and they'd have potential opportunity to vote for them, even though they don't live in the school district. That's why there is some confusion.
Excuse me, if I might. I live on Manor Avenue.
Yes, dear.
I vote at the Holly Street Fire Department, which is the Uniondale School District. Only Manor Avenue and Surrey Lane, they scooped us out of the hikes, and we go over there. Everybody else all around us goes to Jackson School. So it would be very confusing, because the only people that go to Holly Street is Manor and Surrey. Everybody else, and that's the Uniondale School District. That's just one example. I don't know about any others, but I do know about that.
So because of the legal and electoral processes, you're saying that the best date would be on the 28th?
Well, no, I agree with you. I think that we could maximize it, and that was one of my questions for the attorneys to ask, and the answer was no. So, for the reasons that he stated. But it is confusing the way we've drawn lines. We have people in Hempstead that are in the Rockville Center School District, that are in the Uniondale School District. It's just the way they carve the lines, and so it's confusing.
Thank you.
Patricia McNeil? Two minutes.
Good evening. Hempstead residents are basically walkers or public transportation residents. Is there any way possible we can have a referendum put on the agenda, on the ballot, to open up more voting sites? Even if, I know it can't happen for this election, but can we put it up there, let the residents vote on it, so we can open up the sites, so everyone doesn't have to come from across town to try to get to the middle school? What can we do to try to help alleviate the issue? Not everyone can walk over or take a taxi or take a bus to get to a polling, to get to the middle school to vote.
That can be put up for the mayor election.
For the May election?
This is only for the vote.
And how many days in advance do we need to put that, when do we need to put that in?
I'll find out and I'll forward it.
Okay, thank you.
Petitions are the same, except.
Yeah, but this is only for the voter. This is only thing referendum is not for that.
No, I understand that, but her question was, how many days will we have? It's just a matter of petitions and signatures.
Right.
some of the people sitting on the board received some of the absentee ballots, I don't think that he made a wise decision. And we as a community need to come together and say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of it. How can the state say to us, well, it's fair that Mr. Cook is on here,
Right?
but other people receive votes from those absentee ballots?
And
And
even
we
more,
cannot,
even,
we
even
cannot
paragraph, that's
continue
right, talk about
to
it.
allow people to tell us what to do where we live. I live here, and I pay a lot of
And my
taxes.
vote counts.
And I think that the bottom line is, whoever ran that race, everyone should have had the opportunity to run again.
That's right.
And
Everybody
in addition to
running
that,
again. Not
we
just
should be
out one
allowed
person.
time. If I want to run, you're giving me less than a month to come up with funds to run against whoever. And I think the bottom line is,
It's only
we have
6
to
months.
stop. Allow people to tell us what to do. Take a suggestion to them and say, since the people come to the middle school, have a ballot box there for them to allow them to vote for the school election. No one really comes out for the school elections. We have to say enough is enough. You guys represent us, am I correct?
Right.
Speak up for us. Speak up for us. That's what people are saying. We're tired. We live here. I pay $11,000 in property taxes, and almost 90-some% goes to school taxes. Enough is enough. We are being inundated with, last year we had 300 additional, what's the number of superintendent, a new kid that came into the school district. It's ridiculous that the line is long at registration only in our neighborhood. I'm tired of it. And we have to do what it takes to make it happen. What can you do about that? Go to the board. They're illegal anyway. I'll go to the Board of Elections. They tell us what they want to tell us. How do I know? Because I ran for Congress and they tell me what they want to tell me. And I verify it.
You didn't time that man. You didn't time
He
him.
was signed.
No, he wasn't. You didn't
Well, I
tell him
want my
his time was
question
up.
answered. I would like my question answered by the attorney and by the superintendent.
Can you answer the question?
How many new students do we have enrolled just because of this, all this stuff that's going on in our community? And then how come we can't have additional ballot boxes during the election, during the November election, because maybe we'll get more people to come out and vote?
The reason why election day is,
Speak louder, please.
sorry, the reason why election day, may not be feasible is because the election districts that are discussed before. Even putting a single ballot box in the middle school doesn't mean that the other schools where people are voting in the general election, they're gonna get an opportunity to vote.
You're assuming that people are stupid, they don't know where they vote. Everybody knows what, I'm saying this to you. Everyone knows what school district they vote for. We all know. I know when I vote in Hempstead.
They may know, but the concern is that there may be people who vote for the school district that don't live in the school district if they see it on the ballot.
I'm not saying one ballot. Have a separate box. You have it's a referendum. You have a separate box and you indicate that this is for the school election for Hempstead only. I don't even see why this is bewildering. I'm a paralegal. You're an attorney. Why are you bewildered by my statement? We can have one box, have one ballot box, have one, at least or two, so people can vote for the school election while they're voting for the regular election.
It's something that we can take under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan. Anyone else? Any more questions? This is your time to ask.
President, that $1,500 that these teachers are being paid is coming from a grant that we have secured?
I just say that that's the thing.
No, this is a different program. The program which you looked at previously had to do with the mentor-mentee. This is the Teachers Track Center. And this is a grant. Dr. Rivers, is she here? Teachers what? Yeah, Dr. Rivers, you want to explain the grant? Yeah, this is a grant.
a grant where we partner with the ACTA, which is our teachers, union. The grant was written through the New York State Education Department. It supports professional development for teachers, a resource center, a place where the teachers can go to, enhance their professional growth, make copies, laminate materials, and participate in professional development on the Common Core, the NICE rubric, and I think technology. But they have a variety of topics that they provide professional development for staff in the district.
So the teachers in-house are the ones who provide the training?
Yes.
Questions, concerns, page 4, trustees?
Question, page 5. Why was the probationary period changed from 3 to 2 years for John? For speech teaching.
Yes, we changed because of the effective start date. Just turning forward, it's going to hold them 30 days before they will release him. So we had to go back and change the appointment date and change the actual probationary period.
I'm sorry, I kind of didn't understand what you were saying.
Oh, again, for the I'm sorry, he was tenured in his previous, in his current employment now, he's a tenured teacher. So those who are tenured, and we provide proof and evidence of that, will be granted a 2-year teacher appointment for classroom teachers.
So he's coming from another school district where he had tenure. And so instead of a 3-year probationary period here, we give them a 2-year? Is that consistent with what we do for
In the
everybody?
state education department, it states that if a teacher has been previously tenured in the state of New York, a teacher, so that'd be a teacher, psychologist, social worker, guidance counselor, if they have been previously tenured in the state of New York, their probationary period is reduced from 3 years to 2. And in order for a district to do that, they must have on file documentation to support that that teacher was previously tenured, which he provided to the personnel office.
Questions, concerns, page 6, trustees?
Now we go to relative on page 6.
Let's give a moment of recess, approximately 2 minutes. Deputy Mayor of the Incorporated Village of Hempstead, the largest village in the whole United States of America. Mr. Waylon Hobb, step up, please.
Thank you. I believe I was asked by the superintendent to address our overcrowding issue. To the residents of the village of Hempstead, by law, it is illegal for our inspectors just to go from apartment to apartment, knocking on the door, saying, "Can I look in your apartment?" We know that there is an issue in the village of Hempstead with overcrowding because I'm also a member of the Hempstead Fire Department, and we get calls to these apartment buildings, and what should be a 2-bedroom apartment now becomes a 4- and 5-bedroom apartment by putting up illegal petitions. So what we are doing at the village of Hempstead is working with the school district, and we're going to get a list from the school district of those who register, and if we see where we have 10 or 15 people using the address that should be a 1-bedroom apartment, that gives us ground to get a warrant and check those buildings. And so to deal with some of the overcrowding, we're going to work hand in hand with the school district to address that issue. Thank you.
Ms. Hand carry item submitted, you don't have it, so it'll be read. The appointments Colleen Allen, a math teacher, ABGS.
Ask the deputy mayor a question before we leave in reference to the housing.
Is that okay, Deputy Mayor? You want to ask your question?
Sure.
I wanted to know, in these houses, in the apartment buildings, what happened with the owners? I mean, there's no ownership on the owners and the people that are, collecting the rent and stuff?
Although this is not a village board meeting.
I know.
We, our legal department have also changed our village ordinance.
Okay.
So now we're not only going after the owner, but also the tenant. Because oftentimes you can have an apartment building and be the best landlord and don't know what's going on with your tenants unless you go there and inspect every day. And so to make sure we deal with this issue, we're also going to be able to summons either the owner or the tenant.
Okay, I'll speak to you off the record.
All right, thank you.
I was just wondering, what's gonna happen to the age group, some of the students that aged out in the GED program and all that stuff? Is there plans to put that into, down on Main Street?
We have not finalized that yet. We do have a substantial number of students that we call super seniors,
Yes.
that we are addressing their individual needs, and once we have that master list of exactly what they need, either we can take care of that during the evening, but we are looking into every option available to us right now, Mr. Renfro.
Last question, is there a timeline for that?
We're doing our work this week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be identifying the dean for the high school before the week is out, and we are looking into 100 Main Street right now to see exactly what population we can assign there. It has not been finalized at this time.
So by the end of the week, we'll know who's gonna affect.
Yes.
Also, it wasn't on the card, but I'm a little concerned about that schedule change from 9 periods to 8 periods. I'm figuring that my son could have had another class, and I'm just kind of concerned that he's not gonna have what he needs. I don't need him in here for 5 years, I need him in here for 4 years. And not just my son, but all the kids.
Hi, good evening, Ms. Colbreth. As far as the change in periods are concerned, the guidance department is going to be responsible for reviewing transcripts of students more often, so that should not happen. So you should get a constant update as to what is happening with your child. So when it's well before it's time for him to graduate, you'll know whether or not he's missing anything.
I'm gonna talk to you after. I just got a very specific question, but I'm not gonna hold it up because it's personal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Reginald Benjamin, when new schools are being built, what is the policy to put in place to ensure that local communities are employed or given construction contracts? Mr. Benjamin?
I believe everybody except Agro leadership will be considered.
Well, thank you very much, at least you answered the question. But irregardless of whether or not ABBA or any other organization is considered, I know that last year, they built the other school, they renovated that school, and I do applaud you for hiring African American on the lead to do that. But one of my concerns was even that particular group made no efforts to hire people from the village of Hempstead, and there was nothing in place to make sure they do that. Should you guys start building and raise up another school, what policy would you put in place to ensure that these contractors will hire the very people to live in these communities to work on the building of their own school?
First, I want to say I want to thank you for your backpack program this past weekend. What was it, last weekend? I want to thank you for giving over 1,000 children backpacks and supplies. We have, members of the board, one person that, Shelley Brazy, who deals with the minority affairs, and well, I think one of her jobs is to make sure that minorities get their fair share in regards to, work. And I know that you're very local, and I understand that there's no way that you're not gonna, be involved with any building that we do. So, I mean, you already know the answer to the question. I believe that in some shape, manner, or form, you'll be involved with that.
And they did hire some people from the community.
Okay.
They did hire some people from the community.
Yeah, you have to have a card, Ms. Ryan, when you speak, and you have to come to the,
Ms. Ryan, let me just address that, since I was deeply. Thank you, once again, Mr. President. In my haste, I could have incorporated my question when I came before, but this afternoon, I drove through here just when school was dismissing. And I was very, very much concerned about the traffic coming. I realize that you have crossing guards at all of the elementary schools, but there was, it seemed like a major traffic jam as children were being dismissed from the high school. And my concern is, amidst all of this, let's, get the election out of the way, but I'm concerned about the safety of the children as they leave the high school also. And you being a former police officer, I wonder, could there be police presence, at least here at the, what entrance is this? President, and that's, I believe that's Tyler. I believe that because it was like, I had my 4-year-old granddaughter in the car, and she was even concerned. She said, Pop, don't run over the kids. So, I wasn't driving fast. So that's my concern. Would there be, or could there be, some presence? Because you had the security guards, but I believe as far as they can go is the gate. So that's my concern, whether that can be addressed as, a safety issue.
I'll speak to the, police official in regards to that from the traffic bureau, from the village police.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Patricia McNeil. Our first card states, regarding the additional students, are there any from out of country without parents? If so, any federal government aid for these students? Next card, contractual hourly rate for breakfast monitors and bus monitors. It was changed from $23.99 to contractual hourly rate. Is that more than the $23.99 per hour or less?
On the aid for the students, Mrs. McNeil, we are looking into that to see if we can get some additional monies into the district to accommodate the influx of over 1,000 students in the district, to provide some type of ease to the district. And on the hourly rate, Dr. Gilmore will respond.
As regards to the change with the contract, where these particular stipends there, is much less. What you have is your teaching assistants, there is a particular amount that we pay them as contractual. With the lunch bundles, for some cases, we don't have enough TAs that's interested, so we have to allow the lunch bundles to help with the bus monitoring. So they're paid at a contractual rate based upon what they make per hour, which is significantly less than what the teaching assistants make.
Okay, back to superintendent. My question was, where the students, we have the influx that we have, are we able to identify if any of those students were part of the students that came into this country without their parents?
Yes.
Oh, we can identify?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying, not every student we have that came in, of the 1,100.
No, we can, yes.
Okay, and then I have one other question. School calendars. What's the
It's
status?
being printed. They're gonna be out shortly. They've been approved, the pictures are correct, and they're at BOCES being printed for us now.
Thanksgiving is coming shortly.
No, we'll have it before Thanksgiving. We'll have it before Halloween.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
If the schools are so overcrowded, where are all the children coming from? Ms. Bev?
Superintendent, good evening, board. My concern is, I understand that the schools are overcrowded, and I have a granddaughter up there, and if the classrooms are overcrowded, how can the children learn? And my other concern is, where are all of these children coming from? That's, it's too many children coming into the neighborhood. And I was glad what Mr. Hoff said, they're checking these homes down. Because that's the place you sure enough gotta check them out. And that's my question.
Yes, we're attempting to reduce the class size, and as the board approved this evening, it put us in a better position to reduce the numbers of students in some of our classes in the high school and in the middle school with the additional staff.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
First one is, what are we doing about the overcrowded classrooms? Question number 2, what are we doing for the students who do not have a complete schedule because there was no room during the school day? Number 3, teachers were told to teach whatever they could because the social studies ELA curriculum is not available. The teachers forewarned some of these issues facing the district right now, yet our voices were ignored.
Good evening.
I'll take care of the social studies ELA curriculum. I'm not certain which staff member may have shared that the curriculum is not available. The curriculum is available. There is an access code because it's an online program, but not only that, we spent time during the summer writing curriculum, and every teacher from K to 5 should have their first quarter curriculum guide for social studies and ELA. All right, so no, if someone was told to teach whatever, it's because maybe that's their desire, but the curriculums are available.
Good evening, board. First and foremost, let me say that I am a teacher before I am the president of the Teachers Union. And I will continue to be a teacher when I am no longer the president of the Teachers Union. So the issues that I bring forward are not just based because of the union, they're based because of children, they're based because of instructional matters and issues that we face on a daily basis. And my colleagues and I are facing those issues. When it comes to the curriculum, when I walked into the building today, into the auditorium, I was told by at least 2 different individuals from 2 different buildings that they're principals. Now, they told them very clearly, you are to teach whatever you can between now and September 15th. And that's when the ELA, Social Studies ELA curriculum will be available for you to teach. So that's the reason I put it clear, because if that is the truth and that is correct, then that is a problem.
Okay, let me hold you there. That's the start date of the pacing calendar. Why? Because first, we have to make sure every student's in the seat. There's some baseline testing and other things that are done first before we get into the curriculum. And that's no different than the math curriculum. We're starting September 15th, that's the first date of the curriculum. So the curriculum is available, so that's a very different question, very different statement. The curriculum is available, but the start date is the 15th, and it's just teach whatever. It's you getting to know your students. There's different things they're taking running records to make sure they know what levels their kids are at. They also have available to them already the reading program that's online, Learning A to Z. I have many teachers who already asked for their new passwords. If they didn't have a password from last year, they've been asking me for their passwords. They've been given those passwords, so kids are already going online, utilizing the online programs for reading, and then September 15th, the curriculum will kick in. So they do have the curriculum.
So, well, apparently, the information coming down is not exactly that, but, we can check into it.
Okay.
The second issue when it comes to the overcrowding of the classrooms. When we're talking about overcrowded classrooms, we're not only talking about the Spanish bilingual ESL students, we're talking across the board. And I am happy to hear the board took some action today to hire some teachers. However, the reality is, especially, and I will discuss this about middle school, back in May, we sent, teachers came to me and told me very clearly, we have approximately 40 students right now in these classes. If something is not done and we're trying to bring it to the forefront to administration, we will see higher numbers come September. So in May, I communicated that information to the different levels of administration in which we not only did I raise the issue, but I gave solutions. So the first day of school, we have teachers with close to 40 students in the class. The next day, we have them close to 53. This morning, they have them close to 51. When I raised the issue with administration last week, the response was very clear. We are aware of the situation. We know what's going on. We are reviewing their enrollment. However, we're bound by the decision from Central AO. And the reality is, we have to teach the children regardless. And if you have walked into the classrooms, you will see that children are standing everywhere. Not enough seats, not enough space. That is an issue for safety. That is an issue for instructional issues. That is the reason. It's not a ploy. Somebody mentioned to me before when I came in, this is a ploy for a contract. No, it is not a ploy that some of my colleagues have close to 60 children. And number one. Number two, when we're talking about classroom sizes, we're also talking about general education classes. When the district decided to go to an 8-period day, we lost a lot of classrooms. Now, we're not going to get into the details of how and why we got there, but we forewarned and we said, if you make this move, not only will you have less classrooms, the students will be affected big time. And this is what we're facing now. So the issue is, it is not a ploy. It is the reality that we're facing. We do not have enough spaces. Yes, we have to go out and lease. That means more money when we already have the time during the school day to service every child. So when you have students that do not have science, ELA, social studies at the high school level, gym or lunch, that is a problem.
I have one thing to say. I believe it was in May, myself and Trustee Cook, this is what we asked you, and you told us. We said if you have any problems, we have an open door policy. You have both of our cell phone numbers. You said call us anytime you have a problem. You did not call myself. You did not call Trustee Cook. Okay?
And I will have to disagree with you, sir.
And that's a fact. You did not call myself. You did not call Trustee Cook. And we asked you, we said, listen, Trustee Cook said it's a new day. If you need someone to speak to, if you have a concern, bring it to me and I'm going to try to do something with it. That's what he told you. And I told you I have an open door policy. You can call with all the transparency, accountability, and everything else. We offered that to you, and you did not reach out.
And I will have to disagree with you. When I reached out to you during the summer, the attorneys very clearly told us that we were not supposed to. No.
I said myself and Trustee Cook.
Okay, I will not fight. But I will tell you, we were told clearly we could not meet with you. And when you met with us, you told me I am meeting with you because I want to meet with you. However, my attorney told me not to meet with you.
Okay, well,
so
don't say that. Don't say you reached out when you did.
We haven't talked to you. We have. We have.
Hold on, Mr. Ciso. What I would like to say to you is that I think that regardless of what took place and what didn't take place, we gotta go from here.
I agree.
There has to be some open dialogue.
I agree.
As President Johnson just mentioned, we are open to whatever it is that you and your union can provide for us so we can move forward. So from this point on, if there's some issues, because obviously there's some misunderstandings as to what was supposed to happen. Ms. Armstrong was talking about a date of the 15th, and you thought it was something else. And I think that happens because people don't speak to each other.
Right.
So I'm not interested in anything except for the students, these children in this community.
Right.
So I believe that if we can take care of that, everything else will take care of itself, including your contract. But what I'm saying is it's very, very important that you understand from this day forward, please call.
And I thank you for that. However, I just want to clarify something. And yes, the contract is an issue, but right now the bigger issue is children deserve an education. And I agree with you. We are open. I will say this: we have been open, and we will continue to be open. But we have been excluded from the decision making. We have been told we cannot do certain things, and we do, and we will do whatever we need to do to ensure that children get the best education possible
From
in
this
this
point
community.
forward.
We'll do whatever it takes to get
Thank
it
you,
done.
Trustee. Well said.
Is there no homeless liaison? Why isn't there one until a staff member has been appointed? Parents have the right to to register their children without problem according to the McKinney dental law?
There is a social worker assigned to the PPS building, and the responsibilities of that social worker is to cover the 504 student population as well as the homeless population.
That's not true, Ms. Johnson. I was out there from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock, running from building to building. They kept pointing me to different buildings with 5 parents to me. I even seen Dr. Gilmore in the hallway who said he had just made a posting for a new one. There should be an alternative one posted until then. I finally got Dr. Rivers to help me out. I had to go all the way over the heights with different parents.
Okay, I'll make sure that we have a social worker there to handle it in the morning.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, next is Edna Jackson. My concern is the additional students. Are they legal residents of the Hempstead School District? Why is it the burden of the education of the students on the taxpayers of Hempstead? Ms. Jackson still here? Mr. Jackson, Ms. Jackson?
Good evening. Yes, that is my concern. If we have additional students enrolled, I feel that the federal government should step in and help fund this, the education of these students. Because it's falling on the taxpayers of Hempstead. And this district, the taxes really outrageous. And we're paying all of this tax, but what are we getting? What are our children getting?
Nothing.
That's my question. So what are you going to do about it? Are we going to inform the federal government?
Yes, we're going to inform every branch that we possibly can, but we need hardcore data to submit with that letter to make sure that when they reach out to us, that we can support what we're saying to them.
Okay. And I have just one more question, and I'm not being facetious or anything. All these additional students, are they legal residents of the Hempstead area? Because I see a lot of parents dropping their students off. Now, if they live in this area, why should they have to be dropped off? Is that something the board can look into, or is that your responsibility, or can you address that issue, or is that an issue you cannot address?
Yes, we can address that issue, and that's something that the Board of Education is aware of, and we are looking into whether or not students are being bused into the district by way of minivans and buses, and allowing the students to exit and enter our schools. And we are aware, and we are looking into it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next question is Tammy Mitchell. What or how does the Board of Education qualify a person for a coaching position for any sport?
To that question. The reason why I asked that is when my daughter played softball years ago here at the high school, her coach did not play softball, and he came from a different background and a different sport. Because of this, she has an injury in her arm to which she suffers this day and has had surgery. So this is a concern for all the parents. The coaches should be from a sport they have played and are certified in specifically.
Yeah, in regards to the coaches, there are several requirements. Number one is the physical education teacher. Physical education teachers are not required to have to go through the coursework. Just like all coaches, they take the first aid and they take the CPR. When it comes to other certified teachers, other phys ed teachers, they can be appointed to coach. However, there is a timeline that they're given where there are certain courses that they have to take through BOCES, such as philosophy of sports, organizational things of sports. There's a time span given where the athletic director has to keep records of that, where there's coursework that they must take within a given time period. If they do not complete the coursework, then they cannot coach. Now, when it comes to other employees who are not certified teachers or who are not the phys ed teacher, then they must complete all of the requirements for the coursework. Everything must be completed before they are appointed to be a coach in the school districts.
Trustee Cook wants to add to that.
Hi, Tammy, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
I'm sorry to hear that your daughter had an injury, and I'm extremely interested in what happens with our student athletes. I'm going to take it upon myself to make certain that in working with our athletic department and Dr. Gilmore, that these coaches do in fact have some semblance of the sport that they're trying to coach. But what we're running into is two things. I don't believe that just because we're having a challenge, I should say, as it relates to some contractual things that are put in place now, whereby we can't just put a qualified coach in place without having to deal with some other things as it relates to unions. That's one issue that I'm hoping that this open communication that Mr. Mestizo and I, or us, are going to be having very shortly. So that's one issue. But the other one is that you're absolutely correct in that there should be, the coach should have some understanding of the sport that he or she is trying to coach. And what I'm saying to you is you have my word that I'm going to look into that. Being a former student athlete myself, you might not believe it to look at me now, but I was an athlete at one time right here at Hempstead High School. So I'm as interested in that as you are, and we will take steps to try to rectify that.
Well, you once had an athletic director here. Wasn't that person's job to oversee and make sure that the coaches that are hired have experience in that particular department? Because the students are being injured, and they have to actually live with these injuries because of poor coaching. That's not right to the students.
I can't speak to the athletic director situation that you're referring to. I can only tell you from this point is what it is that we plan to do, and to see, we feel that it's equally as important to have the right coaches for our students as it does to have the right teachers for our students in their classrooms. It's an extension of that education, in my opinion. I understand the importance of athletics being used as an incentive for kids to do well in the classroom. That goes beyond the wins and losses. Of course, we want to see our teams do better in terms of that. But as I mentioned, we will take a close look, a serious look at those situations and making certain that our coaches not only have the certifications that they need, but they have the ability to coach the teams or sports that they're hired to do so.
Thank you.
Ms. Mitchell, is it correct that the students need 22 credits to graduate? And is the schedule cut down to 8 periods instead of 9 periods? And that means 5 credits per year equals?
The kids will not be able to graduate because by the 4th year, they'll have 20 credits instead of 22 credits. So let's deal with it step by step. You cut the periods down from 9 to 8. I'd like to know why. And is it true the kids will be earning 5 credits per year? If that's the case, they're not going to graduate. Very few will graduate if it's 5 credits per year. And what about the kids who maybe have IEP or are in BOCES and who are their time is being cut greatly and they're missing a lot of educational time? Before I forget, Ms. Armstrong, I'd like to know why the curriculum is available September 15th and school starts on September 4th.
The curriculum is available now, Ms. Mitchell. We're starting September 15th because what ends up happening in the community, a lot of the kids don't come to, like, for example, a lot of the kids just started school today. Like, there was a big jump in daily attendance today from last week. before you get deep into the curriculum, it's better for one that you test the kids so you know exactly how to meet their needs as opposed to just jumping right into the curriculum. We can't begin to say, okay, here boys and girls take this reading book if you have no clue as to what level they're working on. So it's not that the curriculum is not available, it is available, but we made a decision, so testing would be an issue, the beginning of year testing would be an issue to begin the curriculum on September 15th. We also built into curriculum time where there's just basic review, where you have an opportunity to go back and spiral to make sure the kids are getting what they need before we move on to the next quarter.
Okay,
So that's not an issue.
What about the teachers, if the curriculum's available on the 15th, does the staff have the access before the 15th to get familiar with that curriculum?
Yes, they have it already. That's not the issue. And if they don't have it, someone needs to see me because everyone should have the curriculum. There's no reason why they don't. And in the current curriculum that we use in the social studies ELA, it's nothing new. It's an online program. The teachers have access to it online. So they can go online and review all the different units, the lesson plans. They can gather whatever it is that they need in preparation to begin their lessons on the 15th. So if there's someone who does not have the information, no one has brought that to the attention of the curriculum office. And this is the first time this evening we're hearing about it. All right, so normally, for me, I'm a proactive person. You tell me you don't have something, I try to, my best to get it back to you within a 24-hour period,
What about
or less.
the credits and the periods being cut from 9 to 8?
Well, for the teachers teach 5 periods, but that doesn't refer to a student schedule.
How many credits per year right now are the kids supposed to earn?
Graduation credits are 22.
Right now, how many are they earning? Because the word is definitely they're earning only 5.
Teachers are teaching 5 periods. That has nothing to do with a student schedule. She's asking about the fight. Students, there are 8 periods in a day. Students take 7 classes and a lunch.
Right, my question is how many credits are they supposed to have by the end of the day? What is the schedule affording them to earn per day that they will have to graduate per year?
Okay, I'm going to say, Ms. Mitchell, secondary is not really my area, so I know for the students are taking 7 classes in a lunch at the high school. Exactly what that translates to, because I know some classes are 1 credit, some classes are half. But I'll get back to you within 24 hours to give you the answer to that question, okay?
Please, I
All
would
right, no
definitely
problem.
like an answer. Quick safety issue, Prospect, at 11:30, when the kids are walking out from school, you don't have a Prospect guard there.
First part of the question was personnel.
So so who's gonna talk to me about that? That needs to be discussed as soon as possible, like after we leave here. I mean, because actually, I have a list of things I was giving you guys, you know, that did concern the first part of the question, but when I read your docket, it got me sick to my stomach. You know, because my thing is, I told my son, you have to start from the bottom and work your way up. So I'll be back. I'm gonna stay here and you guys are gonna talk to me about this. I wanna talk to everybody about the first one. That's my major concern tonight. Everything else you're gonna get from me this week, because you know I camp out in front of cars and stuff. You know, you just can't get rid of me. And because my son worked for the district, I'm not selling myself to the devil. And I'm very upset about the first one. So you can answer the first one after you close up. Lawyers, we don't need you for that part. This is another thing. Now, the second one. How do you have 1,900 kids in a high school and don't have a nurse? Do you have a nurse now? Because somebody got hurt here and they said they didn't have a nurse. I don't know if you have one now, but that was, you're looking at me like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know. At that time, there was no nurse in the building. Maybe she came later, whatever, but you didn't have a nurse. Somebody was hurt. And later on, I can give you that person's name. So if you guys don't know that question to the last answer, it's all right, I can get back to you. But the first one that you guys do not want to read, I need for you guys to stay here after this, because I'll wait, and we need to talk about that one. Because I told my child, start from the bottom. It's not who you know. I'm upset. Mother to mother, I'm upset.
Mrs. Weiss, on the school nurse, we have 2 school nurse teachers assigned full-time to the high school.
I know that, Ms.
So I
Johnson.
need to find out why they were not.
Not a
attending.
problem, I'll get that information to you, but I want you guys to focus on the first question. Pass my card around and y'all talk about this, okay? Because I'm tired, and I'm frustrated, and I'm not gonna blast it out because I'm gonna give you respect, but I'm gonna keep coming in with that one. That one is not gonna stop. I'm very upset.
Okay, the next one is Ms. Jones.
I did ask this question at the last board meeting privately. Oh, I'm sorry. I did ask this question at the last board meeting privately. My child took 2 classes for summer school, no grades whatsoever. I don't know what his grades are. Okay? I was told he passed the classes from the principal that was there. The principal that was there is now assigned to Franklin School. I have no proof that my child passed those classes, and he was put back into one of those classes that he spent all summer in. So now he's wasting time in that class, and he can't even see his guidance counselor because he says there's a line going around before kids can even change their schedules. So now he's sitting in a class that he passed during the summer, but like I said, I have no proof.
Yeah, I have your name, and I will follow up first thing in the morning because that should not be happening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, I have 3 cards, no name, no address. Bar. Concerns are school openings, schedules, housing, and schools, and BOCES.
Good evening, Madam Superintendent, Administration, Mr. President, trustees. My concerns are, you know what, I had the same concern that the last parent had. I have 2 kids that went to summer school, put back in the same classes. That's number 1. So that wasn't even on my card. Number 2, the schools. The overcrowding is absolutely unsafe. Has anyone been to a gym class? The gym, there are 4. Yeah.
4 gym classes.
4
in one
gym classes in one.
With over 60 students in each class.
Thank you. That has
Want me to
got
give you the
to
rest
be
of the
addressed.
statistics?
That has to, so, because you know what? I came to you guys, when you see me, you know it's time, I'm done. Every time I come to a board meeting, it's because I'm just fed up. I'm right about where Cheryl is right about now, Ms. White.
Oh, upset.
Upset. The classes are overcrowded. There are over 50 kids, some children have no seats. The gym classes are ridiculous. I have a child that goes to BOCES. I have a 9th, 10th, and 11th grader here. So, I mean, I'm in it for the long haul. When he gets back, he has 10 minutes in ELA. He's going to fail that class. What's going on there? The bus is coming late in the morning, coming back late in the afternoon. This is unacceptable. The building on Franklin, Madam Superintendent, I had a conversation with you about this a while ago. Every time I pass that building, it makes me sick. Where are we going to put all those kids? The one on Attorney and Front Street. Where are we putting all these kids? You know there's going to be kids in these buildings. I'm sorry that, oh, Mr. Hobbs is still here.
Absolutely. I'm trying to keep me quiet.
You can't keep Gypsy quiet. Where are we going to put all these children? How did you guys allow this to happen? Our tax dollars are out of control. I can bet you bottom dollar those are going to turn into pilots. I can't afford this. They are trying to tax us out of Hempstead. I get it.
Yes, Swazi.
And the schedule. I had a daughter today that couldn't get into the lunch period because I had to text her her schedule 4 times. Then I had to get to the guidance counselor. She went over there to calm her down and get her into lunch. Come on.
Sounds like a village meeting.
Mrs. Barr.
This hinders my allowing me 10 minutes of class instruction. This is against the law of my special education 94142. Meaning it is a violation of my IEP instructions, time as well as my classmates. As as the fact that we have less classes, we are 1 credit short. What are we going to do?
Number 1, as I indicated, I'll look into the problem with the transportation from BOCES.
It's not about the transportation, about BOCES, this is about the graduation, the credits for Hempstead High School.
Well, I'll meet with Dr. Hill in the morning, and is there a number on here I can contact you at to see what the actual, is there a number you can
This
give
is
me?
beyond me, this is about other students. You got
Yes,
ninth
I
graders
know.
and the credits to graduate by the time they become a senior.
And that's what I need to meet with Dr. Hill with in the morning to see exactly what the problem is so that we can make an adjustment.
I have another question. So many students does not have their schedule on time.
We processed approximately 400 students that had not been in the high school previously. That was a heavy burden on the staff, and it created other problems, which was a domino effect. We are on target right now because we had 2 people working on that over the course of the summer, and those problems should be eliminated by week's end.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
My neighbor had 7 cars in front of their house, and they were digging out their roof, their basement, to make more room. We as a school district need to look into this as well. We know how many kids are coming from different houses. They have to register an address. The Declaration of Independence says, if you are subject to a foreign body, therefore you are not an American citizen. We need to start suing the government for the money that we need, because they're not going to Garden City, they're not going to Montauk, they're coming to Hempstead and Freeport and Roosevelt. They're coming to our communities. They are, if the parents is illegal, that makes them illegal. I don't care that they're born here. And that's the bottom line. We know that too much is going on. And people can be mad at me. The reality is we're carrying the tax burden. And it's the bottom line is that I am tired of carrying the tax burden. We need to report it. If illegal things are going on in the community, we need to use the village line. We know people are living in houses overcrowding.
50 of them
And it's
in one house.
ridiculous. I'm telling you, I saw my neighbor literally dig out their basement. And guess what happened? The village went there with a search warrant and found out that what they did was illegal. So as a school district, I think that if we see that there's an influx of coming to one area, we need to get together, and I'm not calling out any race or anything. I know when my grandparents came here from Barbados, they came here, they didn't get on the system, and they got jobs. And they made sure that we got the citizenship or registration to be here. My thing is that if we have people as undocumented, we need to step up as different communities and work together and say, we can't take it. Give us the money that we need to build more schools. Because I said to the mayor, where that nose is, we could have taken the property. Listen, Terry spoke a whole lot. Y'all had 2 cards for him. I want answers to this. What are we going to do as a school district to report the overcrowding to the federal government and to the village?
We're putting in place a plan. The school district is not working in isolation. We are working with our village. We're working with our mayor and our deputy mayor. They've requested specific information from the district. We're compiling that information for them. And the outcome of the code enforcers for the village will give us the guidance that we need to know what to do for the next step.
That's great. Because we, as community members, we need to be more involved in doing that too.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end of the public.